Okay, so this is post-commentary. I haven't really done this before, but it's pretty much the style I'm using for this We Have a Few speedrun for We All Fall Down. This is a added-on DLC to the base game and is kind of its single segment own journey. So I'm going to talk about all the things I have done in this run and things I will be doing as we go along, because it's a pretty fun speedrun, all things considered, and I would like to show this off. Anyway, as a base, this game is the very end of the story of We Have a Few, and it's taking place around the end of the main story as a result. And you play as Miss Bing, who is one of the characters in Arthur's story. Anyway, the intro of the game is pretty straightforward. Just to cover a few things, there's a stamina system, it's first-person style movement, and it plays very similarly to Dishonored. Story-wise, you're mostly kind of moving at a base speed. You're kind of capped just because your character is currently sick after being taken off of her joy, which is the in-game drug that's kind of like Orwellian in a sense. So there'll be these little points that your character will be throwing up, and you'll be losing a little bit of health over that, but it's not going to impact us too much. It all kind of just adds into the experience. The first goal, as you can just hear right there, and possibly see at the top, is we're looking for a mood booth. This is going to give us the joy, but when we get there, something else is going to happen. Ideally, I'm getting my stamina low, so when we hit these puking sections, we're going to get regained all the way back to 100%, without having to waste any additional.
I'll take my joy and forget this ever.
Long story short, she doesn't take her joy, and you are going to be getting a tutorial. You need to both fight the bobbies and then shove them away. It's just kind of teaching you how the whip works, and then you get to the real mission, which is going to be escaping. This is also going to be the introduction to the whip as a weapon and as a traveling tool. You'll be able to see there's these rope kind of swings around that we can actually swing to, like such.
From the police.
I've also been getting some story dialogue. Some of them are skippable, some of them is not. The first minute or so of this run is going to be very expositional, but once you get to the bridge, the run really picks up. There's also a minor skip you can do here. I didn't get it here, but if you manage to open the window while this is happening, you can just kind of skip that action and be ready to leave slightly faster. It's incredibly minor, but it's kind of neat to get.
I've got to get somewhere quiet.
The intro to the sewers here isn't too crazy. You just sort of run forward, avoid the citizens down here, and enter the door to head towards the bridge where the next section of the game is going to be, and the action really takes place. Also in this game, the loading screens are thematic, so you're going to be seeing a lot of ones tailored to Ms. Bing. There's also kind of a neat thing with game overs where you'll get a newspaper kind of saying, oh, she's been promoted to a new position, when in reality you've died. So I'm going to move immediately to the right to hit that button, and I'm doing a couple of cutscene skips. Now that we're at the bridge, you're not going to be able to cross it normally, so you're going to have to go on the construction underground. First things first, I jumped to try to get in the elevator earlier. Getting hit by the lightning is a bit of bad RNG, and it especially is bad since our health will be too low at times. It makes it risky. I'm doing a jump here so I don't have to watch a mini cutscene of things falling, and as well I'm gearing up for a jump to this platform here. It's a hard jump to make, but if you do it, you skip an auto-scrolling elevator. I'm also going to be grabbing some things called contraptions in this run. Normally you'd have the whip here, but jumping can save you a little bit more time in various ways. I get a death abuse here that puts me over to the next platform. We're going to be making our way up, and while there is a contraption underneath these stairs, I'm going to go underneath the radar here and avoid the detection. We're going to be getting enough contraptions to upgrade our whip later in the run, but right now I'm going to be doing a mini clip into this wall to spin this, and normally you'd want to eat a hit there, so you can go to the death abuse really quickly once you enter Hayworth Labs. However, I didn't get it, so we're doing the normal strat, which is going to have us jump over here after hopping on that rail, and then that will skip a long run around section. As well, you'll notice I'm grabbing the contraption and a couple of healing balms in this section. The healing balms are safety tools which will help me later, because I'm going to need a lot of help. Unfortunately, I fell down there. Also, the subtitles are a bit weird when people are on different forms of joy, so they speak Old English. In this run, I wanted to try out a mini trick here, but I didn't get it, so I decided to just run into here and do a death abuse. It does give us a loading screen, which since this game's timed in RTA, it could be a bit rough, but by attacking the bobbies earlier, I'm able to do a nice death abuse, and here's the little game over I talked about. We're promoted to the regional admin. So the reason why I want a death abuse here, actually, is because when I get back in, none of the bobbies will be chasing me, and I can immediately enter Hayworth Labs, as opposed to having to fight everybody. It's a nice trick I was able to find, and it saves wonders of time. And now we're in Hayworth Labs. So the mission here is going to be, we have to stop an uprising of workers, and we're going to have to use both cunning, stealth, and a bit of fighting to do that. This mission as well has one of the hardest jumps in the game, which we'll be seeing in a moment, but before that I'm going to talk about a little skip called the Steam Skip. Also known as the Epic Games Skip, if you want to be cheeky. Anyway, I'm going to just go a little bit to the right or left of the Steam, and we're just going to bypass it. That does save a lot more time than you think. It doesn't look like much, but normally if you touch the Steam, you'll get launched off the platform, and you'll have to turn it off. It's maybe about 10 seconds or so. You have some very nice graffiti there earlier, but now we're kind of getting the synopsis of this section. We have to defeat that big guy in the blue boiler suit, and I'm going to want to make a jump to that right platform that you can see right now. If I don't make it, I'm going to have to go to the left and take the long way around, but if we do make it, that saves a large amount of time. Let's see what happens. I'll give you a hint right now, we make it. The jump is awkward because if you go too much to the right or the left, you can actually bonk on the pipes. Anyway, we're going to go up here, and I'm going to be hitting the switch. Is one of the mandatory switches you have to do to get the electricity back on. And as well, I grab more contraptions and healing balm. That's really nice later in the run, so we want to make sure we have that. This is also what I call both the yellow jump and the safety jump. We're going to be skipping a lot of platforming by just jumping over to the rope swing and latching on. As well, I'll be using the contraptions in a moment once I turn off this next power, because our final contraption is in this room. So we get more healing balm, we'll grab one more contraption, and then once we're all the way up, I'm going to be upgrading my whip's attack power. This is mainly going to allow me to do more attacks with the whip, so I can attack way more, so nice damage. As well, I fall all the way from the top. This is going to do nice damage to me, and it also gets me down to the bottom. This is why we need the healing balms. As well, the stamina immediately helps on this guy because he has a lot of health. Normally it would be a risky fight, but since I have so much stamina, we can just finish him off clean, and then we put down the uprising. As well, I'm going to have a moment to heal once I get to Verloc, who's going to be at that top room. But for right now, we're just running straight forward there. It's also kind of weird because in this game it's not noticeable, but you're going to have to re-push the run button. Normally you hold down run, it's fine for you, but on the first one of this room, you're going to have to kind of refresh it to get your consistent running back. You saw I also healed there because that's a forced little cutscene you have to do, and it just gives you a bit of time. And we want to make sure we're healed up because the next few sections are going to be very difficult. We also get introduced to the doctors now, who are not fans of us. I'm going to shove them down while I wait for the elevator because I don't want them messing with me. So we are going to head down. And that is the exit of Hayworth Labs. In this section, I golded because I just did everything very nice there. We got some nice drops, some nice jumps. It worked out very nicely for us. But the goal now is going to be heading over to the Old Bailey district. Our mission in-game is to destroy the supply of joy. So we're heading to the main distribution of joy, and we are going to break it. And this will break the joy machines that we saw at the beginning of the game. As well, at this point, there's going to be both bobbies and doctors in the streets. Both will attack you on sight. As well, there are citizens who also want to attack you. So you have to make sure you avoid the enemies here and don't get hit. Getting hit not only will reduce our health, but more importantly, it will slow us down and potentially get us caught. I'm taking a risky run by running past these bobbies, and we're going to be doing a slight manipulation. By accessing this wheel from the angle I'm doing, I'm going to avoid getting hit by anybody. They'll kind of watch me and stand there, but they don't know how quite to attack. So you'll see that Bobby misses, and then we can just enter the next area. While I do eat a hit, this is really good for my... I grabbed the healing bombs earlier, is what I'm trying to say. This is kind of the hub area with the bridle path. This is where your house is. This is where you'll be going to the various sections of this game. And now we've entered Old Bailey. In Old Bailey as well, we're getting our next major weapon, and probably one of the more fun ones of this area. It's going to be a dart gun, and the dart gun shoots stun bullets and as well can open up scanners. By opening that door, I can now do this, which is going to allow me to bypass most of the running section here. It's a neat little skip, and it saves, I want to say, about 20 seconds or so from running around.
I can't believe.
And as well, we're just going to be running down over to the main switch, and when we hit it, we'll have destroyed the joy bullets. We're going to short circuit it. And now instead of taking the elevator, I'm just going to do a risky jump to land up here, where the end of the area is. As well, I'm getting my whip back because I'm going to be doing another little trick, which if you whip while landing, you will actually cancel the stumble. So you'll see me do that a few times throughout the run whenever I'm jumping from large falls. This is also why I'm taking healing bombs, because whenever I do fall from high enough, I will be taking some damage. Luckily, there are a few points of healing, which will be nice, but we're out of Old Bailey, and the next part of the story is going to involve the Waterworks. Since we're going to be skipping the cutscene, just to explain it, the citizens of, Britain, I should say, the UK, have realized that there is joy in the water supply, so they can just retake their joy and do that. Your character overhears this, so you need to break the Waterworks. Before we get to Waterworks, we're going to have to run through the city. And we're going to be backtracking a little bit through some areas, as you see in the game, and it's nice to know the routes here. There's a few routes you can take, but I'm mainly going to be running through the streets as efficiently as possible, avoiding bobbies and the doctors, which we'll see right here. I'm also very glad this game has cutscene skips, because without it, there is a lot of cutscenes, and that would be very unfortunate.
I have to smash the water treatment plant.
These jumps are a bit risky at times just because your stamina is very low when you're going through here, but luckily we get a nice time to refresh it on that balance beam. I tried getting my whip there, but I ended up not being able to get it, so I ate a slight stumble, and that kind of shows what I'm trying to skip when I'm swinging the whip. As well, I smacked that Bobby so he doesn't body block me when I'm trying to exit. Those yellow lights to describe are joy detectors. So if you enter them, the joy machines will start to zap you if you're in proximity for too long. As well, Bobbies and any other people who are aware you're out for joy will start to attack you, as you can see here. You can see I'm trying to hug the left side of the street and overall avoid the citizens and the lights, because you'll get zapped or injured, which both can lead to rather disastrous results. I'm going to be dropping through a vent here, and once I'm in this vent, I'm going to be entering the Waterworks. Here, I'm going to be doing a jump on this pipe, so I can use the balance beam to heal. You can't run while you're balancing on anything, but you can jump on top of it, so it's slightly faster to get in the middle, so you can save more time, as we did earlier in the bridge. As well, there are two paths you can take, either the right or the left. The left is slightly faster because it's more just running. The right requires a bit more whip jumping, which is slow in comparison to just running forward. The whip jumping is cool, but you mainly just want to be using it when you need to jump. And overall, if you just run, you don't need to jump very much. As well, we're going to be taking this elevator. This is probably one of the more cooler routes that we can take. But in this run, I believe I landed it. We're going to have to get into a fight at the bottom, and as well, we're going to have to fight our way to the top once we're done with the fights. So it's going to be a pretty intense section, as we'll see here. In this point of the game as well, Verloc has understood that you're trying to break all the joy and remove the supply, so he is sending his goons after you. The contraptions we used from earlier to regain stamina is absolutely going to help us during these fights, because I can take out most of the guys while generating stamina. Even with my low stamina right now, I can still have a set base amount of attacks. And overall, these will be enough to defeat most of these guys. Once I defeat one of those guys there, I'm going to get the next spawn. And after one of the blue guys is defeated, I will be able to get the heavy worker, who is the boss of this area. The heavy workers do a lot and can't be stopped if you try shoving them, so I mainly want to just get damage on him. He kind of bugged out at the beginning of this and stayed in his cage, but I'm trying to lure him over to the rising platforms so I don't get electrocuted and don't need to do platforming when this ends. As well, I'm going to be running up here to destroy the water. You hit the button and it'll automatically pull out your stun gun. We're going to fire at that opening right there. And with that, the platforming section begins. So the platforming is going to have a neat trick. I believe I got it during this run, and I'll explain it once we get to it. First, we're going to be jumping on these gears, and I'm going to do, like, there's always a little weird rise that happens there. I'm not sure why, but it usually works for me. And this skip is neat, but not mandatory. You could go around, which is about, I want to say, 15 to 20 seconds. But if you go on the reverse side of the elevator, there is a YOLO jump you can attempt. So I'm going to be attempting that right now. I jump, I turn around, and I throw the whip. By doing that, you skipped all the runaround sections, and you can immediately go to phase 2. I believe I also get the second part about this in the run, where you jump on this and jump immediately over to the ending. And now we're out of Waterworks. That was a very good Waterworks for this run. And as well, I'm preparing the stun gun so I can immediately shoot the exit when I get there.
Get home, Vicky. You don't want to be their scapegoat.
And with that, you've broken all the joy. There is no more joy here outside of the pills that have already existed, and we need to get back to the house. It's going to be a run back on the initial path we came, which is what I mentioned the backtracking on. Again, we're going to avoid the doctors, avoid the machines, and avoid everything we can. I get body blocked by this guy here, but by stunning him, I can bypass him. I also do a little bit of a risky jump. By jumping in between these, I can actually get to this rope swing and avoid having to take the alternate entrance. It's slightly faster because your forward momentum is going to carry you a lot more. Right now as well, you may remember this section. This is the flower garden we ran through in the beginning, and we're making our way back to our house.
This phase won't last.
As the mission says, get home, lay low. That last whip is going to allow me to avoid the stumble, and then once you get here, surprise, we are going to jail. In jail, this section is going to have me just kind of chilling in the cell for a second. It's really quick. It's just a couple of cutscenes that give you backstory, and then you find your cells open. We're going to have to get a mission for the rest of the game, which is ultimately going to be blowing up the factory we saw at the beginning of the game.
Miss Bing?
Here we are.
Go.
He pretty much says he was going to blow up your house, and you need to get the bombs from your house to blow up the factory from the beginning of the game.
Can't get out of here without a pair of wings. Or my whip.
As well, since we're thrown in jail, all of our weapons and supplies are currently gone, and we need to sneak to get them back. Luckily, they're very easy to get. We're just going to have to go down to the bottom and then up these stairs. This is my favorite little trick. It's called Move Nerd. You just shove them out of the way. It's a fun little shove. And with that, we're going to have our stuff back once we go to the safe in the bottom. There's also some healing balms in this room if you haven't been managing too well, but I already have 2 at this point, so I'm going to be good for the rest of the game. You may need them, given that there are a few risky areas, but since we fall through this vent, we can just head straight back up. What I do as well is I shove this guy out of the way, and then I get my gun nice and ready. The gun is going to allow me to break these security doors, and I want to get them preferably while I'm running, so I can just keep my movement going. As well, instead of taking the first route back, now that we have the whip, we can just whip our way up. And we are exiting the jail. And back into the streets we go. And this section is probably my least favorite section of the run, and it is running through the sicker areas of the town. There's going to be some goop on the ground, and it'll kind of make your character phase out, as you'll see, if I touch it, but luckily we can do a jump there to avoid it. I do like this jump coming up, because it's pretty just neat to swing through the buildings. We also jump through this window, and we're going to avoid the gate, and here we are. We just go up there, and now we can kind of swing through the surroundings. It'll be a very easy trek back. As well, this is also a good time if you need more healing or contraptions. They are available in there. Ideally, though, you won't need them if you've been managing your health correctly. As well, I'm doing a whip abuse to drop down here, and I also want to make sure I avoid these people. I'm jumping a lot and I'm shoving when I can, because they will absolutely swing at you, and it's very risky to eat a swing from them, because there's some damage over time elements down in this area, which is why it's kind of annoying. From here on out, though, we're pretty much back to where we were earlier at the Waterworks, and the ending is going to be the same. Or not Waterworks, but Old Bailey. So you just head straight back up, and we'll be going to our house next. And here we are. So our house is actually here the entire time, but now it's under a sort of quarantine since people are guarding it. You can just run past them, given that we're playing on any %, and normally you'd have to go around, do some platforming, but it's much faster just to go to the final platform and do a whip jump, because you can reach it by jumping slightly up. As well, I try to aim for the window when I get that. I almost fell off, so that was rather risky. But normally, if you jump like that, you can just fall into the window, which is kind of neat. As well, I'm going to be opening the door and gathering the bombs I need. They're going to be right in the beginning, believe it or not. They're really easy to find. As well, I shove them out of the way. And I'll be shooting one, I believe, as well. Let's see, do I do it? Yep, it's funny. It's a nice weapon to have, and it's better than the shove in case you need to do it, because you won't drain your stamina. Up next is the plans. The plans, as we learned this entire time, were in a haberdashery in the plaza we were in earlier when we had to spin the wheel and manipulate the bobbies and the doctors. So what we're going to be doing is just running straight forward and hopping on the horse. By hopping behind the horse, you can get up here and you can get an easy jump over to the haberdashery. And with that, there we go. We can get Johnny's plans, and we are out of there. As well, this leads you straight back to the beginning of the game, and you can go back over to Hayworth, where we're going to be blowing up Hayworth Labs. At this point, you don't need to worry about any of the bobbies of electricity. You're forcing your way in using your stun gun, or the dart gun, I should say. As well, this is why we need the healing bombs. These will electrocute you and stun you as a result. So damage, stun, not a good place to be in. And now we're in Hayworth. The mission here is going to be blowing up Hayworth Labs. We're going to have to place 3 bombs. As well, we're going to have to open up the gates. Again, it's on lockdown, so you have to be very careful here. Luckily, on 80%, we're going to have enough time to shoot both of these and book it forward. As well, I'm going to be stunning this first doctor, because while you're placing this bomb, he can chainsaw you, which is absolutely horrifying to watch. It's great if you're, wanting to have fun with the horror experience. Not so great if you're trying to speed run. So, the bomb placements are actually really close, but the fun part is going to be leaving. I also do another whip abuse, and she falls out. But it's slightly faster that way. By doing all that, I'm actually going to be breaking the game by avoiding some breaks in the platforming. I'm going to jump here. It's a lot harder than it looks. It's really easy. But we need to escape Hayworth Labs. It's about to blow up. You're on a timer. Normally things would be blowing up around you, but since I went the left route instead of the correct route, we are able to bypass a lot of the blowing up. You'll still see some of it, though. I landed on that one twice, unfortunately, so it's a minor time loss, but overall, this is still going to be a pretty good run. We're now going to the finale, which is the roof. In theory, if you're able to make it to the roof early, you can skip the entire game, but there hasn't been a skip of that found just yet. The music's also really fun in this section, so it's quite nice. Anyway, we're gonna have to platform our way out, and hope to God to get the ropes. This one always gets me. I think I missed this one in the PvE. But luckily, the checkpoints are pretty forgiving in this game, to where we can just go here. You can always wait if you really need to, but usually going for it will be faster, and your stamina should be enough to manage. There's one jump that's a bit risky if you didn't manage your stamina properly, but I always make sure to just delay it right before I run out. It's just going to be this jump right here. There it is. And now I'm going to be doing a bit of a risky strat. Normally I'll take the elevator, weight it down, but instead I'm going to be jumping from the side and rope jumping to this final platform. From then on, we're home free. We just have to get off the roof. And we are out of there. From this point forward, we walk forward, and the run is done.
I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
We've managed to successfully destroy society, and we're going to find out the results of Miss Bing.
Have they all gone?
The run officially ends when we open the gate.
Besides unhappy memories.
And time.
Oh, look. It's Miss Bing. Lovely day for it, Miss Bing.
We know what you did.
I did what had to be done.
What gives you the right?
What gives you the right?
You were all going to starve to death.
My brother did die.
The bobbies hit him a little too hard.
You lot told us everything was fine. You told us to pretend it was.
We all wanted to pretend. Don't you remember?
We're all leaving. There's nothing left here.
You can go wherever you like.
Just not with us.
And that was We Happy Few, We All Fall Down.
But I saved them.
They may never forgive you for that.
What else could I have done?
You don't always get a bright, shiny medal for doing your duty.
What did you say?
That's what I always used to tell your father. Come back to India, Vicky. You miss me. And I'm probably still alive.
Overall, it's a pretty neat
Goodbye,
speedrun,
Mother.
and it features a lot of cool platforming.
I hope you'll be proud of me.
Hope you enjoyed it. This is my first attempt to post commentary. Overall, pretty fun, but this has been a neat experience, and it's fun kind of explaining these tricks. Have a good one, and see you next time.